So this guy is already inside the room. If you want, you can talk to him, dear Dean, and you don't need to use always AI. For instance, in this example, actually, we have used human approach as much as possible, and it was actually more successful than AI. This is my room, and sorry for looking like that. And in this case here too, the training and the results are here too. There are also these type of websites. I call them like ultra AI search, and this website here actually takes nearly over 50 million clicks amount. Everything is with the AI, everything with, let's say, some cheap stuff, but at the end of the day, still it works until someone new actually comes to the industry. But it doesn't have to be like that always. For instance, this one here, it goes to the over 5 million, then it actually comes back as well. These last two websites, none of them are actually English. One is from Indonesia, the other one is from Brazil. So I will suggest you to go to these languages as well. It will give you actually more experiments or experience chance as well. So when we look at the large language model optimization for SEO, this section is actually from the Google's own quality rated guidelines. They clearly state that human effort is part of the quality. Even if you create the best possible content without the human effort, it might be seen as non-quality and non-expert at all. So these 7 steps that I find, I believe this will be our SEO or traditional SEO methodology for the future 3 to 4 years, I believe. We will always fine-tune a language model. We will create a topical map. We will create a semantic content network. Then we will generate content. A human, actually, probably expert, will be changing the content. And at the last part, we will actually improve our knowledge base and making our knowledge base speaking AI. Imagine that you actually include the best possible expert content on your website, and your website starts to talk to your clients or your customers based on your own information. If you're able to prove your authority, they will come to your website and they will give your prompts or their prompts to your content as well. So when you look at here, anything that you see in this area, these are actually a kinds of knowledge base. Some of these knowledge bases, they have like 8 billion facts. Some of them have like 55 billions of facts. So if we find a knowledge base for our industry, the next step is actually verbalizing it. In this case, Google has a sample for that. If you look at here, from a knowledge base, Google actually verbalized that specific triple. This is actually called data to text. If you're able to do it actually for like 55 billions of triples, it means that actually you will be getting a kind of expert level website. But if you publish everything suddenly, since you don't have historical data or a brand, it will be really hard to rank, and you will definitely actually exceed the threshold as well. The example here actually suggests you to use a natural language inference, and there is an inference sample here. For instance, if you use a sentence like "we paid 20 at the Buckingham Palace gift shop," and if you don't tell the currency, this specific NLP system can understand that it is actually pounds, because Buckingham Palace is located in UK, and the pound is the official monetary currency of the UK. So in this case, you should understand that this type of inference methodologies, they are quite expensive. So that's why in your specific method, I will suggest you to actually have these things without giving any kinds of need for these expensive algorithms. Give your sentences clearly so that you can be actually cheaper, as I suggested before. Another danger for us is these watermark technologies, because right now AI is able to detect AI, and in this specific research, the specific researchers here, they claim that with 98% of success, they're able to understand whether the content comes from a human or whether it comes actually from a kind of LLM. In this case, if it comes from the large language model, they use just shortlisted or blacklisted words and whitelisted words. So as I say, every word is connected to another word in large language models. And usually we humans, we are a little bit unpredictable. If you check my articles, you can see that, for instance, I always tell in this context, it's like my signature in my content, a kind of phrase signature or statistical signature. But when you look at the LLM, they are able to imitate anyone. And it is the thing actually that we can use for catching them. The article here is about Google author vectors. Basically, you can actually get your author authority further and further, proving that you are staying in that topic as much as possible. If you want, you can read it too. So who is gonna win? We all have large language models. I have a stronger CPU, but I am not sure that it is the strongest. and we have GPUs, and we have other things. We have also content, but who is gonna win at the end of the day, this specific era of the SEO? The SEO who understands, not the SEO who imitates. And to be honest, the reason that I didn't launch my course like over 2 years probably, is actually similar to that too, because I fear that after a point people might try to imitate me, but it is not actually my purpose there. Always try to focus on understanding rather than imitating someone. So the last part here, we will try to show you a kind of quick showcase how a search engine processes a text and how they see it. This is actually a Google patent as well, and they talk about cross-lingual information retrieval. The sentences from similar languages, they create these type of word embeddings. And I try the same thing in this specific tool. I give actually 40 different sentences from 40 different languages, but the thing is that I always tell the same thing. At the end of the day, the languages from the same region or geography, they create a closer embedding to each other as well, as in the research paper. The thing that you just see in this area, all these things are actually word vectors or the word embeddings as well. You can also create these things if you know a little bit coding. And if I move further, you will realize that we just zoom in to these specific actually word vectors. The distance between these bubbles, they actually represent the semantic distance between things. If I move on this one, if you click one of these things, you will realize that that word vector highlights other related ones semantically. In this case, this specific thing that you saw, it is actually already explained in Google patents as well. So this is how strong Google is. Basically, they feel us whenever as you realize, when I say Google, it just buzzes. So I blame Google, as always. So if I gather things back, basically the things that you see on this screen, they actually represent different types of knowledge domains. And there are like millions of different ways to unite knowledge domains to each other by using different types of contextual zones. If you check these specific context zones, you will realize that when I click to the ultrasonic, the cleaners are highlighted. And when I click to the cleaners, you will realize that quartz is highlighted. But if I click the quartz, ultrasonic is not highlighted anymore. So I will wait like 6-7 seconds so that you can actually watch it one more time, because you're able to see how things are connected to each other with what kinds of ways, because just after the slides, we will see actually a kind of real showcase of that. Yes. If I move on, and if I search this specific thing, I will realize that hexagon is actually an ultrasonic wave type. So in this case, this is the main context of this specific connection. And if you need to create a topical map, you will need to understand that. And if you need to cover more, you will also need to understand how these topics are actually bordered and what is my source context and how actually I can connect these things to each other. A way of doing this thing is actually scraping all these specific ranking web pages. Then you can create a similar methodology here. Here you actually see a text graph. And this text graph actually represents all the existing word connections in the top ranking web pages so that you can actually configure your own content. Here, actually, I need to tell that in my SEO case studies, I don't use any kinds of tool, and I don't support being a tool-dependent person. But if you're a beginner, these type of tools might be helpful for you as well. In the next sample, you will see that actually what are the main topics here. For instance, if you search for quartz and cleaner, quartz cleaning is the main topic. But if you want to rank there, you will need to create a kind of logical connection between your website and for this specific context vector. If I do the same for cleaners and ultrasonic, you see that actually the connections changing, and main context and main topic also changes too. Cleaning machines, ultrasonic cleaners, or again, wave cleaning, it happens to. And after every vector, we see the main context terms like clean machine cleaning or wave surface and the dirt. If I do the same for the quartz and ultrasonic, you will realize that all the specific text connections changes. And in this case, however you actually construct your own document with the headings and with the paragraphs or the internal links, you will need to understand all these possible connections, not just for these few queries, but probably 20,000 queries as well. And usually, for this one too, we see aromatherapy design. And your website might not be about that at all, but the specific context term crystal might be relevant to your topic a little bit, and you can try to connect it to your own website with the topical map as well. This thing here, it is actually for optimizing large language models, and in the near future, you will be using these type of things. If you generate content, you will realize that some of the content pieces that you created, they don't have proper relevance. This tool is actually launched by Google. In this case, you see that there is a language model, And in this section, we actually realize that certain types of words are connected to certain types of words. At this actual right bottom corner, you see how these word sequences are actually shaped, and you are able to change these connections. If you want to create a better content on scale, and as I say before too, there are databases with 55 billion facts. If I am able to actually fine-tune my language model in a better way, it means that actually I will be increasing my relevance and responsiveness. Even if I am able to do it